Good morning. It's good to be back here in Magdala. I decided to do a little direct FaceTime in the first moment this morning so you can see that I'm really here. It's not AI generated, although we are grateful for all the technology that allows us to have such connections. And to be able to talk to each other in the early morning at sunrise here from the Sea of Galilee. Thank you for your good wishes and prayers and interest. It's amazing how fast things happened 2 weeks ago. Today is Friday, exactly 2 weeks ago. We still didn't know that everything was set up for sure on Thursday evening 2 weeks ago. We got word that some people were setting up our vacation, which had been planned for the middle of June, but got disrupted with all the international conflicts that emerged. And then the ceasefire came, and immediately a couple of people were thinking to help us to have our vacation, because things get programmed and people have different duties to be able to do it together. And everything worked out, thanks be to God. And on Friday night it was confirmed, and Saturday morning at 5 o'clock we were leaving for the airport. It was amazing. Wow, this tree has come down to the ground here. It's amazing. In 2 weeks, all that happens in nature. The passing of time. And here we see the lake line receding. We'll have to go out there and walk there one of these days. A lot of children over shouting and enjoying themselves in the water at sunrise. Way over there. So, one of the impressions from the vacations that really caught my attention, we were walking up a creek, and then there were machines working in the river, and we saw so many dams. And one place you could see 11 dams, so it was a steep area, and there was this powerful rushing stream. And then if it rained, the stream would be double or triple. And then in the wintertime, you can imagine with constant rain, precipitation, you would have such a deluge coming down there from all the catchment area of the surrounding mountains. And then water is so powerful and can get out of control. We know the stories of floods all around the world when there are times of heavy rains and the damage that it can cause, and the disruption of people's lives. And then we saw these incredible machines working, and thinking. Then we went up a little bit further. I didn't share that video. I took another video where there was a pretty strong landslide that obviously had blocked the road. Many places in the pathways, trees had fallen over the winter. Maybe 2 years ago as well, there was a very heavy storm that knocked a lot of trees in that part of the Alps. And just to think of all the work people have done to keep the pathways open, to keep the streets, rebuilding them when a heavy flood causes major damage, or all the material that's dislodged and blocks access. And then on steep parts of the mountains, rows of stairs, enabling more comfortable, doable climb enabling people of different abilities to also have access to the nature, to contemplate it. I was very struck by that just fact of the amount of people helping to make it possible for others to have a life, and then also to have this kind of enjoyment in nature that opens up the heart for the beauties that God has created, the vistas, mountains, waterfalls, and just so many varied experiences. You realize how vast nature is, how beautiful and extraordinary, and we leave the ordinary and we go into the extraordinary for a moment when we see something special, like this bird here that's bothering us now. Where is it gone? It doesn't like me being here after having 2 weeks without sunrise stroll and chat. And we wake up out of our normal routine to take a break from the normal routine. And that's an optional thing we do, but a very decisive activity that's good for us to get away from and to do a different routine, a different experience, to allow us to appreciate more what we're doing each day, to come back to it with renewed vigor, renewed desire, renewed dedication. We need to have a sleep every day, to rest. Even some people have the habit of a little siesta for 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the middle of the day, in the early afternoon, or whenever. And that makes such a difference in life. Our whole system, we can't go full power all the time. We need breaks, we need rest. Like those children having that time swimming at dawn, that's not possible every day. To be at a lakeside, for the parents to take time with the children so they have a chance to have a different experience, to realize life is not just within the routine, that it's a lot more. And that happens, people, in any case, throughout life, that our routines are broken. And they're broken sometimes by natural disasters. And today we have the story of famine. In the reading of Jacob, there's famine in the land and they need to go and get food. It's a marvelous story. You could even click back through the readings. It would be, if you have a little time this weekend, and just follow the series of readings, get the overall picture. They're actually a selection of just a few scenes of each of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and over a couple of weeks we experienced this amazing story of this family, a family story, and that's where God is accompanying the people, where they experience His presence, even though many times their own actions are so defective, so also cruel, like Joseph's brothers selling him into slavery. And yet God is present, and He wants to accompany, He doesn't abandon His people, even in our darkest hours. And we have this incredibly moving moment of Joseph embracing his father, who had kind of reckoned he must have been eaten by wild beasts. Through the lies of his brothers, he came to that conclusion. And now they're all reaching a moment of truth and reckoning, and the joy of Joseph and his father embracing. And sometimes the reality of famine, the reality of needs, bring us back to our basic truth, to basic humility that's at the source of justice, because we don't dictate the terms of the universe. We don't dictate the law of gravity. It dictates to us. And violence and hatred aren't dished out without consequence, to find other solutions to problems rather than violence and hatred and the elimination of the other. In the long run, they come back to bite. And we have solutions that go against the very basic will of God in our lives. Thy will be done. Do not kill, do not steal, do not lie. It's a big challenge for us. And then we have the next level of generosity after that. It's not just do not steal, do not kill, do not lie, but expose yourself to generosity. Give yourself where providence calls you. We have the 12 apostles going out, and even to face persecution and not to worry. This is a marvelous level of human generosity. Then, so it's going way, 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 way far away from doing harm to others and being willing to accept harm from others for the sake of the gospel, and knowing that the Holy Spirit accompanies us and gives us the wisdom we need, gives us the words we need. How many times parents suffer a lot of injustice from the children, very harsh demands, very narrow-hearted reactions that lack comprehension of the wisdom behind a parent's decision and advice. And that hard rebellion is endured by the parents. And if the parents don't fulfill their calling there and just concede everything to the children since they're small, then we're failing in our duty to lead, to teach, to represent the reality from which we come, the reality and structure of family, the reality and structure of society, of just society. What an important responsibility to follow conscience, to do the just, the right, and to represent that with humility. This is the instruction Jesus given the apostles, not to go out with a gun and fight back. None of the martyrs have died like that, and to give witness to truth and to goodness and to justice and to love and to reconciliation. These are the great pathways of humanity that forges the future. The future is not forged by violence and wars. It is for the powerful of the earth, but they last in power for a moment, and they're all swept away by history in very few years. And the ones that last are the ones that lay down their life, that don't go with the debauchery and with the corruption, and that generously give themselves. Those parents who have given their lives to build up their children, they have a glory waiting for them in heaven, extraordinary. God is present in their lives, sustaining them in all kinds of challenges and difficulties. And the terrible torture for people, families, not to be able to provide for their children due to war, due to famine, due to disasters, natural disasters, due to major human breakdown, puts us to the limits. And there God is saying to Jacob, do not be afraid. Trust, he is walking with us in all our life circumstances. People, I'm sure you have many more reflections. Let's leave it like this for today. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Back here in good Magdala. So many blessings. Let's keep praying for our world and the story of Jacob and his children, their relationships. This is a story of humanity. So many places today, migration, going to Egypt for survival. So many people in need. Let's have a heart and a prayer and effort and the word and support for each person. God bless you. See you later, alligators.